Welcome to the PTA Real Estate Podcast. I'm your host, John Caligiuri, coming by my co-host, Nick Kelly. Nick, how you doing this
All right.
morning?
Fantastic.
It's awesome. It's always a good day seeing Nick's beautiful face. So, Nick, what's new with you? What's new in the hood with you?
Um, Nothing really much. Just keeping that grind on work and going through life, saving up money.
Yes, especially in these turbulent times, especially with everything's going with the outside world and the stock market crashing the other day and everything
For
like
sure.
that. It's definitely troubling times. You got to save your cash. Cash will be king.
Cash is always king. Cash flow's king.
Yeah. So speaking of cash being king, I think we should talk about the best way to buy a car in these times because hell, a car can run you $70,000 today.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yep.
a
And
Kia
I
is
was in the
for
business.
yeah. It's cars are being, and I don't know if you share the sentiment with me, Nick, but I believe a car in America is a necessity. A lot of
Yeah.
people call them liabilities, but I view them as to go to work, you're gonna have to drive. Unless you live in the Northeast, in a major city, you don't need a car. But hell, even if you live in Chicago, you're probably gonna have a car. I know for certain if you live in LA and California, you need a car to work. So I think there's only one pocket of the nation where you don't need a car to travel and to live. But they're so expensive now, and they're an absolute necessity.
Yeah. And if you go on Indeed looking for a job, a lot of them will say vehicle and driver's license required.
Yeah.
So yeah, just that's what employees are looking for, someone that has the ability to travel. Um, but what a lot of people do is that they go broke buying it. And then
Yeah.
they have that job to pay off the car, but they're not saving any money. They're not buying actual assets. They're just sinking all their money into this liability, into this thing that they think they need.
I would say it's a different type of liability. I would say it's more of a utility. It's just a cost of doing business in America. You gotta have a car.
Yep. Yep.
So what I don't know what I would like to hear. I don't know. We didn't really do limited pre-production meeting on this, but I think the common YouTube knowledge of that people tell you to not go broke buying a car, just they say buy a solid used car for $5,000, Toyota or whatever, it will last you forever. But like just buy a cheap car. I did that strategy. I agree with it in a different way, but I disagree a little bit because Nick, I don't know if you recall about that Lexus that I ran into the ground, that the
Hmm.
transmission blew, and it cost me $9,000 out of pocket that I really needed on it was like a random Tuesday in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I left the trailer park. I was driving down the road, and it just like almost I was like, why is there so much smoke? What is going on? No power. I drove it like an idiot because I know nothing about cars. I drove it to a mechanic shop, and they're like, yeah, your transmission blew. And next
Ooh.
thing you know, ipso facto, I still owed four on the car. So I was like, hell, if I pay off the loan and then buy another five, it would still be the same money. I said, stick with the devil, and bought
Hmm.
and get another transmission. So from that experience, because I did do just buy a $5,000 nice used Japanese vehicle, last you forever. That really bit me in the butt. So now I kind of amended that statement to I just buy. I think the best way to not go broke buying a vehicle is you go to your Toyota, you go to Honda, whatever you like, and buy the baseline version. So so after that car, after that Lexus, I bought a brand new Toyota Corolla. It would cost me 20 grand. So my payments like $300 a month, which some people say, oh, $300 a month for a car is a pain in the ass, is a lot of money. I would say $9,000 cash out of pocket on a random
It's a
Tuesday
lot of money.
is a lot of money too. And the benefits you get with the bottom line car is my first three oil changes free. The
Free. Yep.
Toyota good to go. I know this car is going to last me longer than that. I know if I do everything correctly, it's going to last me 10 years. So I kind of turned in the face of like, yes, do not go buy a Cadillac. If you can afford a Cadillac Escalade at 25, but really nothing else, don't go buying a Cadillac Escalade.
Hmm.
Don't go take out a $70,000 car note. That's just asinine. But I am in favor with the bottom shelf or like the bottom line brand new vehicle because the reliability is is kicked in. I think you will save you money in the long run doing that strategy, unless your plan is just to buy a $5,000 car cash every 3 years. But then how much does that really cost you a
Yeah,
month?
yeah, that's not going to add up.
Yeah.
No, I
No.
100% agree with that. When buying a vehicle and you're growing your assets, you're growing your portfolio, if it's stocks, real estate, whatever, and you don't want to sink a lot of money into this ridiculous vehicle, avoid that. So each vehicle, each brand, each model has a letter grade to it. So yeah, your Toyota Camrys, Class A. Your Chevy Malibus, Class A. Your Honda Civics, Class A. Now you got your Cadillacs. They're down there with the D's, and lenders look at these. And if it's a used car, it's Class A. You can actually get a lower interest rate. They're willing to actually lend you the money because they know if a car breaks down, the average person isn't going to pay off their note.
No.
This is the way it is. They're going to not pay anymore. Their credit's going to go to ass, and that's just how a lot of people think. So, if you're buying a used $5,000 car, make sure it's one of those Toyotas, Honda. It's a Class A, because they're going to lend it to you, especially if you're tying up money, because they're going to lend it to you. Don't go in there wasting your time, because time is also money. Looking at a Mustang, a Class like C vehicle. Be smart with it. A second thing is avoid dealership financing, in-house financing.
Nick, that's a great point. Thank you for bringing that up. That is an excellent point. Please
avoid that. I have when I was selling cars, I had so many people that wanted to do dealer finance, in-house finance. It is a scam. They will have a crazy amount of interest rate, and they do not have to report it to the credit bureaus. You will be paying each month on a vehicle, and you will not be growing your credit. And then when you go to buy a house, and you don't trust banks, because a lot of people don't trust banks, and they don't have any other credit on their credit card, but they say, "Oh, but I've financed like 2 vehicles from my friend at this in-house dealership." Nothing was reported to us. We can't see anything. You have 0 credit. We can't give you a loan. That happens all the time. I just had a client the other day that told me that they've financed like 2 or 3 vehicles. I talked to a lender, and they're like, "Yeah, nothing was ever reported." I was like, "Yep." They went to in-house dealership, called them up, like, "Hey, what bank?" Like, "Oh, it was through the dealership." Now dealerships have banks.
Yes.
Realize that if you go to a dealership, they should have a banks that they work with. Okay, get it approved through the bank. Don't go in-house. Avoid that.
No, that's a great point, because the interest rates through a dealership are always higher, because you have to report
take
your
a lot
credit.
more risk. They
Yeah.
don't have the money like a bank does. So,
as well as they turn themselves into mini banks by just loaning out all these car loans, or they turn themselves into mini banks.
Yep, and they don't report anything unless you don't pay them. Then they'll report, and then they go through the legal process of getting their car back.
Yeah. And how fast is that legal process?
I didn't work in an in-house. We did do a few in-house deals. I've done a few in-house deals for people that really couldn't afford anything. They had like no income. I felt bad for them. That was really the only way that they're going to get wheels. So I've done a few of those, but nothing that I've never foreclosed on anything or went through that process. So I don't really know, but it's pretty fast. With a bank, like if you don't make your first payment on a car, we've had to call people back like, "Hey, there's some problems with financing," and then sit them down. "Hey, you didn't make this first payment," and they know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Other than that, it really depends on the banks. Some banks will actually pay for people to go out there, tow the car, and bring it back to the dealership or bring it back to, whatever they agree on. And some banks say that no, it's on the dealership to get that car back.
Yeah.
And if they don't, then if it's a $30,000 vehicle, the dealership's out $30,000. So yeah, you might say, oh, that dealership's just, they're all scumbags if they try to take my car back. It's like, yeah, you didn't pay your note, and then if they don't get it back, they're out $30,000.
Yes.
You would do the same thing, dude. And this was your fault. Like, we hooked you up with this car, and
no one put a gun to your head and said buy this car, and then you made a deal and then didn't and reneged the deal, and now you're butthurt.
It happens all the time.
Victim mentality.
Yeah. It's definitely a victim mindset. Yes.
So I think that should be the number one rule when buying a vehicle: avoid the victim mentality.
Yes. Yeah, do your thing. If you can afford, if you want like a $300 note, $400 note, I wouldn't go 500. I mean,
no, I think 300
people try to get approved. Yeah,
insurance
is really the math. Yeah, with insurance and all that stuff, it definitely gets up there. I've definitely seen people have good income, dual income, but they have 2 car notes out, $600 a piece.
Wait, I did the math. Even with my car note is straight up $300 a month. Insurance is like $115, and then I fill it up 2 to 3 times a month. So to wake up and go to work and whatever, it's $500 out of my pocket each month just to have the privilege to go to work. And I think as a banker, and I see other people's car notes and stuff like that, as sad as that is to say, because think about it, that's half of one of our paychecks in the ministry. It was $500 a month. That is pretty low, I would say. Yeah, I mean, there's I look at people's financials too. Like a lot of people's card notes are in the $450, $500 range a month. I would say that is probably the industry, the national average from one banker's perspective. That is I did zero outside research except going through my day-to-day life. So anecdotal experiences. Yes, anecdotal. Yeah. And then if you factor in insurance and gas, that's another reason why I bought Bottom Line Toyota. I get 30 miles per gallon in the city. So there's some months I only fill up once a month. So it costs me $40 to fill up. No, yeah, so low trim Class A vehicle, brand new, or get low trim Class A used and maybe get a little bit cheaper depending on your finances. Yeah, because you can always find. I just went with the brand new option because it was still in early 2022, so rates were still extremely low. I think the same vehicle, not like a $20,000 note, is going to be higher than $300 now. I can't really say, but I do know it was definitely, interest rates are high. So your market does determine your budget, as everything. Rates determine budget. Yeah. That's why I would highly recommend low mileage or brand new Honda Civic, like Class A vehicle, because it really does help. Because a oil change is over $100 now. A tire rotation, all that stuff. Like they did all that stuff for me. I've made a lot of bad. Nick knows I've made a lot of bad purchases in my day. Definitely not. We all have. Yes, I'm definitely happy with this purchase for sure. It's good. I think don't go going out there buying your Mercedes. Not yet. Listen to us, and we'll get you that Mercedes. Yep. Invest. At least have 100 doors. Yes. God bless, and thank you everyone for listening.